Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. This is Sare Liz, or as some know me, Mother Sare, and I've got a sermon for you today. The quality is a bit different than this intro because it was recorded during a worship service. These are audio-only recordings because that's what's manageable at this time. For more details concerning when, where, and what bits of the Bible were being preached on, look to the description below this video. I hope you enjoy the message. Here we go! I'm sure you remember the story of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. There is a truly horrible human being named Scrooge. And he's a horrible person. And in the night, 3 spirits come to him. And one of his visits is from his dead business partner, coming to warn him that he needs to change his ways. And it doesn't work, and so he has other visitors. And finally, at the end of the story, we see essentially the Grinch's heart grow 3 times larger than it was, and we see the reformation of his character. He is a new man. He is good, he is kind, he can now see people that he overlooked before. His heart is full of love for anybody who crosses his path. And it's a heart-rending, warm, fuzzy, touching Christmas story. And Jesus is saying it's not true. Jesus is saying that people are who they are. And they'll listen to wisdom or they won't. And so he's telling this story, and it's a hard story. But he's also telling it, presumably, knowing that he too is going to rise from the dead. But he says a lot of fascinating things about the people who come to him only for the shiny, sparkly things. They come to him only because he miraculously feeds thousands of people on, a box lunch. They come to him only because he's this amazing healer and he can heal the darndest illnesses. He'll heal anyone who comes to him, anyone who can manage to grab 2 seconds of his attention. And they don't really care about what he's saying. They don't really care about what he's preaching. They don't really care that he's trying to convince them that there's a different way to live. They just want the shiny stuff. They want the miracles. They want to be in the presence of a prophet of God, someone who is a son of God. I gotta be honest, it would be really exciting. It would be really exciting to be in the presence of someone so charismatic and so clearly close to God that you could just see it in their face. And Jesus' point is that all the shiny stuff isn't the point. Even him raising from the dead, raising other people from the dead, raising himself from the dead, not the point. The point is how we live our lives when we're alive. And this is good news, because if it actually took spirits coming back from torment to convince us to change our ways and become better people, that might happen to special people, but it's not going to happen to most of us. I don't know, do you talk to ghosts? Most of us don't. Most of us hear nothing and see nothing. Most of us have just what Jesus in this story says. We have the wisdom of our forefathers and our foremothers, and that's what we've got. And from this big pool of wisdom, we get to go fishing. We get to go fishing in the pond of the wisdom of our forebears. And some days are good days. We've got a net, and we've got a pole, and we've got a cooler full of fish. And we can come home triumphant. And some days are not good days. Some days we come home after hours and hours of fishing and think, they all got away, it's not my fault. Jesus' point is that we have enough already amongst us even now to figure out how to be good people, to figure out what God wants from us, to figure out how to walk quietly and humbly with our God. And that if we require supernatural events, whether they're the kinds of miracles that Jesus did in his time, do we require that level of supernatural phenomena to convince us to be good people? Then we are out of luck. Because we already have everything we need. And so stories like Dickens' A Christmas Carol, they're beautiful stories. And they're lovely stories. And there are things that are true about those stories. One of the things that I love about that story is that it beautifully tells the tale of what if. What if? What if I had been a good person earlier? Ooh, my life would have been like that. Darn it, I missed the boat. What if I continue to be kind of a nasty, selfish person? Ooh, my life's going to be like that. Okay. But the average person, you and me, we don't get the spirits of Christmas past, present, and future to come to us on Christmas Eve and explain these things out, as if giving a dissertation or a video documentary of our life. We've got to figure it out on our own. And that's the part where the story falls down. Because the average person who loves that story, or kind of likes that story, or is kind of annoyed by that story, the average person who knows the story is not going to get that kind of VIP treatment. Because let us be clear, Scrooge got VIP treatment. He got led by the nose, or if you like, by the hand. He got an engraved invitation to change his ways. And he said no several times until he finally said yes. Do we need to wait for an engraved invitation to take the next step that God is asking us to take? Now, I am not implying that you're all narcissists like Scrooge. No, that's ridiculous. His character was blown out of proportion to make a good point. But each one of us are on this path, walking toward God. And our paths all look slightly different, and that's normal. And each one of us is about to take the next step. Doesn't matter what size the step is. Doesn't matter how steep the path is, or how downhill it is at this point. Doesn't matter. For each one of us, the next step is still a little difficult, because it's the next step. It's always more comfortable to stay right where we are. Or maybe just to sit down in the path. Just sit down and take a little rest. Because sometimes God asks difficult things. But for each one of us, no matter what it looks like, God is asking us to take just the next step. To not worry about miles and miles in the future. Nope. To not worry about all the things that happened in the past. And also to not sit down. And we're not going to get an engraved invitation. We're not going to have the spirit of Pentecost past, Pentecost present, and Pentecost future come to us and tell us exactly what it would look like if we made different choices. We're the normal people. We're not the VIPs. And Jesus says, we already have everything we need. This shouldn't be discouraging. This should be exciting. You and I already have everything we need. Amen.
Hey friends, thanks for listening. Sometimes a sermon can lift us up, and sometimes it can leave us thinking. And sometimes we can walk away seriously challenged. This is totally normal, and you're not alone. We're supposed to be comforted and challenged by God in turns. And today may be your turn. See you next time.